California. It's going to be more of a sanctuary state. Mike, you're also in California. Want to get your reaction. I think a lot of people are looking at like, well, look what Kansas did. But we also are reporting that it was somewhat confusing the way it was written. What is your take on what happened in Kansas? Although you live in a state where most likely it will be protected for people even to travel out of state.
Well, I mean, look, everybody is watching what's going to happen in the midterms. Traditionally, the party in the White House, as everybody knows, loses seats in the first midterm election. And everybody was expecting that. But as we've said here before on the show, I've heard a number of guests and analysts say this could be the one issue that changes things for Democrats. The fact that Kansas rejected this abortion ban yesterday should be a message to people who expected the November elections to go very strongly in the Republican category. I will also note that there is the opposite on the ballot here in California in November. There is a proposed constitutional amendment that would enshrine abortion in the California Constitution. There are, 6 or 7 big battleground races here in California for control of the House. These types of ballot measures could make the difference in control of the House nationwide.
Yeah, and speaking in terms of kind of referendum issues or policy issues that can work, I think, for Republicans, there's an interesting one, Amber, we want to talk about in Georgia. And lawmakers there are proposing the ability for Georgians to be able to deduct unborn children as dependents on their taxes. This is an interesting proposal. Now, what I think is fascinating about this is it's a pro-life kind of thing as opposed to being an anti-abortion type proposal.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting approach to the issue. And I do think, generally speaking, Republicans have been embracing more pro-life policies outside of just the abortion issue over the past couple of years. Senators like Marco Rubio and Mitt Romney have proposed expansions of child tax credits and even direct deposits to new parents, which I think is a great way of encouraging people who maybe are struggling with the financial aspects of pregnancy and parenthood of being encouraged to have that child. So I think that's a great trend. But we also can't lose sight of the fact that abortion is part of the pro-life issue as well. And you hear from the left a lot this false claim that pro-lifers don't care about children after they're born. Meanwhile, pro-lifers have set up tons of crisis pregnancy centers. Right. They give more to charity than the left. And yet people like Elizabeth Warren want to shut down those crisis pregnancy centers. So that myth couldn't be any further from the truth.
I mean, $3,000 for an unborn child. This is a tax credit you would get, Kira. I mean, this is, a way of supporting these mothers, too, as well, because prenatal care can be expensive a lot of times.
Yeah, I'm always for any government solution that incentivizes people procreating and creating stable, long-term, long-lasting nuclear families. And because I believe that that is in the best interest of our government, of national security. So I think it's an interesting thing that Georgia has done. It feels like it would add several layers of bureaucracy to the process, which I'm definitely opposed to. So I'm going to be keeping my eye on this to see how it works out. But of course, as a mother myself and somebody who values life, I do believe that the children that I carried for 9, almost 10 months at a time were definitely people even before they got their chance to breathe fresh air, and they do count.
Yes, and I do see your point. I mean, it can be a little problematic having to verify your unborn child's heartbeat to a government entity. I don't like that part of it, too. But, in terms of being opposed to this, Mike, and just assuming you would be as a Democrat, not to cast too many aspersions on you, but it's hard always to argue against something like this, $3,000 for expecting moms. That's a difficult thing to be against.
Yeah, I mean, look, my concerns are the same as yours on that. I think it's kind of weird to have to prove to the government that you're with child. I mean, that no one wants to create a registry of pregnant mothers to make sure that they can take advantage of a tax break. But that's why this issue is so tough. We've talked about this before, John. I mean, this is a very complicated, I think, constitutional issue. It implicates the very core of bodily autonomy and what people do with their own bodies and, what control they're in. So, I mean, this is a very, very important issue. I'm not opposed to tax breaks. I'm a father of 3. I've asked my wife for 7 more. She says no. But
Smart woman.
but, these tax breaks are a little more complicated than you might seem.
You need a lot of tax breaks, and you live in California, so you got to feed them all too, Mike. You know.
So 10 kids.
Wow.
That's what Mike Gatto wants.
not
Okay. God bless you. God bless you, Mike. God bless Kira and Amber as well. Great having you all with us. Great conversation today.
Yeah,
Thanks
great
so much.
discussion, guys.
Thank you.
All right, still ahead this hour, we now know what sparked that fire in Utah. This one right here on your screen. What a spider and a lighter